Welcome to Teaching Tuesday, the IATLIC videos. Today we'll talk about back pain, the number one problem that we see in the primary care clinic. Everyone is familiar with back pain. It's one of the biggest problems in the United States. You get up in the morning and typically somebody will complain of pain in the region of the lower back, or more often you have spent the weekend playing some kind of sports activity, or maybe you have moved some furniture over the weekend, done some excessive yard work, cleaning, whatever it is. It seems as if your entire back is caught in a vice and you are now wondering whether you indeed have a slip disc that requires an emergency spinal surgery with the orthopedic surgeon. Fortunately, it is not as severe as that. 99% of back pains are usually due to a muscular spasm. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at the way the back is architectured. Our spine curves from the tailbone through the lower back and goes all the way to the neck. Now in these curvatures are maintained by certain structures. The curvature of the spine in the chest area is maintained by the orientation of the ribs as they go from the back of the chest to the front to the breastbone. This curvature of the spine in the lower buttock area is maintained by its connection with the bony pelvis. And this maintains the curvature here. The curvature here is maintained by the abdominal muscles. Now notice this is like a bow, and the abdominal muscles is the bowstring. There we go. So the abdominal muscles is the bowstring. The bowstring gets loose, the bow loses strength. And in this, whenever you have a change in the tension because of a loose and lax abdominal structure, the maximum amount of pain is felt right at the transition between the relatively fixed chest portion and the relatively mobile lower back portion. And again, these are the two areas that people experience pain in. So how do you manage to live a life that is free from back pain? And the key here is the abdominal muscles here. The rectus abdominis, or the six-pack that everyone knows about, the internal obliques and the external obliques, and the transversus abdominis muscles. These muscles are the dynamic load bearers of your back. A dynamic load bearer is a load-bearing structure that shifts its capacity to bear a load based upon the immediate circumstances, such as a muscle will shift. A muscle's capacity to lift a load will change depending on the load that is put upon it. By contrast, ligaments are static load bearers. That means if a ligament breaks at 100 pounds, it will break always at 100. It will not ever break at 110, and it will not break at 90. So ligaments are relatively fixed in their ability to hold our skeletal structure together. It's the muscles that hold them together through all the movements. And if these muscles are weak, then the brunt of the burden falls on the ligaments, and that's when the ligaments basically fail. And when that happens, there's a microscopic shift in the pelvic area right here, maybe just a fraction of a millimeter, but that fraction of a millimeter is enough to produce traction on the nerves that come out of the spine in that area. And because of that traction, that causes spasm of all the muscles in that area, and the spasm locks the spine into the uncomfortable position. That means spasm perpetuates the abnormal orientation of the bones there. Spasm results in pain, pain causes more spasm, and there's a spiraling, self-perpetuating vicious cycle. The key here to managing back pain, therefore, is to somehow break the spasm, try to relieve the muscles, and most importantly, to stabilize the natural orientation of the lower spine with the pelvis. Now, you notice here that I marked these arrows showing a kind of a movement here. If you were to draw a plane right across the horizontal aspect of the pelvis, then the hamstrings here and the rectus abdominis here act like a lever couple, tilting the pelvis like this. By contrast, the quadriceps and the long back muscles here act as a lever couple to tilt the pelvis like this. So the biggest problem in most people is that usually their belly muscles are loose and their hamstrings are too tight. As a result, because this is loose, the vector forces of these muscles pull the pelvis downwards, and they are really powerful, the hamstrings, along with the gluteus maximus muscles, and they cause this perpetuation of the tilt. And the simplest way to fix chronic back pain is to maintain your hamstrings nicely stretched. So, some exercises that you can do to stretch your hamstrings are: keep your knees straight and use a piece of rope and pull on the rope like this to lift your knee up straight. Keeping the knees straight, pull the leg laterally to produce a little bit of stretch in the inner thigh muscles here. So by stretching the inner thigh, stretching the hamstrings, stretching the outer thigh muscles, you produce enough, over time you'll produce enough laxity in these muscles that they don't tilt the pelvis out of position. To summarize, back pain is usually of the simple kind, but if pain continues for a long period of time, definitely seek orthopedic help or go to your primary physician. There's a lot of manipulations that any good primary physician can do. In our clinic, we frequently do therapeutic massage with some of our liniments that allow us to break the cycle of spasm in the back, allowing for these joints to slip back into position. But we also know very well when these cases need to be referred to an orthopedician. Thank you for listening in to our video today on chronic back pain.